Welcome back for another special update, friends. We are witnessing Israel and Iran. Remember, Israel, not to be confused with is fake, Israel battling away with Iran for fake World War III FUD. We're continuing our plight here into the crypto bull market. What happened to the bull? Hasn't showed up yet. So we're moving through this weekend. Don't skits out if anything happens with this price action and we go down lower and like they bomb harder and like something happens. Just you know what to do. Okay, but to just chill out as much as you can. I've got some Bitcoin Maxi commentary here. So this guy on the bottom is Jack Mallers. Remember Jack Mallers? He was the guy. He did that emotional Bitcoin conference speech where he onboarded El Salvador into Bitcoin. He was the one who got Bitcoin, El Salvador in, right? Jack Mallers, no man should work for what another man can print. That is one of his quotes. So he's Bitcoin Maxi. But now we are seeing a bit of a twist in the story. What's been happening? Here you have another Bitcoin Maxi, Plebita. It's funny how Jack Mallers went from this to selling people a stock he infinitely prints under the premise it will always outperform BTC. So, I never thought we would have seen this. Human greed takes over all. So, there's companies coming out here, they want to do more. Pretty much, fans, what it is they're getting bored. Okay, they want to do more. So, what do we do naturally as humans? You got your Bitcoin. You probably say, oh, this guy's probably got thousands of Bitcoin. Why does he want more? I don't know, bro. It's just human emotion, right? Why does Warren Buffett not quit when he had $1 billion, right, back in 1990? Why did he keep, going in the game up to 80 billion, right? Why didn't he stop at 1 billion or 5 or 10 billion or 15 billion? Why not stop at 32 billion? Man, once 80, why not stop now? It's going to keep going. You see what I mean? As much as you can. So what they're doing is obviously they're doing the micro strategy, similar stuff where they have shares. They sell shares in a company. It's literally just shit coins, fans. It's literally altcoins. They're selling shares in a company, and then the goal is for the company to outperform Bitcoin. You know how this is going to end, Bitcoin Maxis. You know exactly how this is going to end, okay? You don't need me to tell you this is going to end badly. Jack Mallers actually replied to him. What about Strike? I'm the founder, Keo, and largest shareholder of the cheapest place on earth to buy Bitcoin and move it to cold storage. No fee DCA, free withdrawals. Where does that land me in your moral hierarchy? I've grown to love shitposting with you. And then Plebita replies, affinity fraud. So affinity fraud, be careful, friends. It's a very common thing. What they do is, like Richard Hart did affinity marketing with Bitcoin Hex, right? So you attach the Bitcoin name to it. That's what affinity fraud is. That's what but they'll say everything is affinity fraud. It's like, oh, you're doing affinity fraud with just anything if you're just remotely related to a thing. So what they're basically implying here is just because these companies said, if it is true, right, they're all going to hide under the Bitcoin logo. They're going to use the Bitcoin brand and go, we are great, we are amazing. Come and invest with us. So I don't think it's going to work out amazing, but look at this. It's worth noting that if Jack and Michael are successful in this venture, it's definitely a short dollar strategy. The trade-offs for Bitcoiners in the world are hard to weigh. It accelerates us towards a post-dollar Bitcoin future. Bitplebs stack less short-term. Hardly a short dollar strategy. Michael Saylor strongly advocates against Bitcoin becoming a medium of exchange. These companies are often framed as a speculative attack on the dollar. Read what George Soros did. It's nothing like this. Really, these companies are just a speculative attack on self-custody. So the posts that you can't see in the bottom here, MicroStrategy, in their office, they said Bitcoin peeds a day at strategy paid with US dollars. So if in the left post here, you know what Michael Saylor does for Bitcoin Pizza Day? He's got his post here. He says, 1, pay the pizza with US dollars. 2, keep the Bitcoin. That's what they're basically saying. So you get to see, this is the thing, right? When you make it, like some people might frame it as a deal with the devil, but no, bro. Like when you're onboarding the world, you literally onboard the world. Yeah, you get every fabric of society. Every person, conservative, liberal, right? Young and old, Everything, friends. Everything. People who like 3 ice cubes, people who like 5 ice cubes in their orange juice. Okay? Dare I say, all of us with sharp, pointy elbows will also walk alongside people with rounded elbows. Okay? A dark day, but that's what happens. But the price valuation's higher. That's the whole game. You're front running everyone. But yeah, when you get into cypherpunks, your dream is everybody becomes a cypherpunk with you. But you know that's fan fiction. Of course it's fan fiction, bro. You know what I mean? Like that, now you're a normie. If everyone is doing what you do, you are now the mid-curve normie. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Right? Remember, it's just like that Bart Simpson episode, man. Remember, like, be like the boy? I think it was this episode. The Simpsons, listen to your inner child.
I want each of you to try something interesting.
So in here, friends, yeah, be like the boy, or this is your inner child, okay? But it's very, it's similar. I'll find it. It's actually here. This is cool.
What happens when everyone in Springfield copies Bart? The episode starts with Homer and Marge arguing over a trampoline. He accuses her of not knowing how to have fun, which is why she wants to get rid of it. Whereas Bart and Lisa side with Homer, frustrating Marge even more. So she goes to her sisters, where she learns about Brad Goodman. Later, Marge invites Homer to watch with her, and they end up getting along. Now the couple is hopeful that Brad might also change Bart for the better. But to their surprise, Brad likes Bart's spontaneous attitude and encourages everybody to imitate him to live better lives.
You are all gonna start living. Really living.
Convinced, the whole town eventually becomes like Bart. Unfortunately, Bart hates it because it's not fun when everyone's having fun, so Lisa advises him to turn into a good-natured doormat. Meanwhile, Springfield organizes a Do What You Feel festival where everyone can do whatever they want. Unfortunately, the people become out of control, causing a commotion. And who do they blame? Bart. The angry mob chases him, but luckily Homer helps him escape. By the time they arrive home, the Simpsons have learned a valuable lesson.
We're all fine the way we are.
So now you know.
There you go. You want to know what happened? That's crypto in the next 20 years, by the way. There we go. Okay, just replace Bart with Bitcoin and the crypto Bitcoin maxis. Like, everybody self-custody. Don't chase fiat money loan lending. You have Bitcoin here. Just hold it. Don't seek any loans. Yeah, that's what. But society just crumbles. You know, we need the fiat system, right? People need to be able to go grab loans. You can't do loans on Bitcoin. Here's the thing. You can. The problem is, the threshold for giving out a loan will be so high because you can't get back your Bitcoin, right? It's literally life or death. Yeah. Friends, it's literally like in Diablo, you have hardcore mode. All right. You die once, it's over. The whole game, literally, you're level 80 character, you spent 3 months, doesn't matter. It's over. Okay. Well, do we want to run an economy in hardcore mode? No, no, you don't, bro. Do you want your children to grow up? Right? They make one mistake, it's literally game over forever. Yeah, so that's pretty much probably how crypto ends up going up. This is cool. World War III FUD, friends. Wow. I mean, that's wild, man. That's wild. You know, this gentleman, man, that's when I think of crypto, that's us in a bull market doing backflip. Everyone's just watching because we're so small. We're just doing backflips, just body slamming everyone, doing leverage on leverage. That's kind of funny, man. It just brings a tear to my eye. For years, Bitcoin maxis all over Twitter and YouTube, they've been spitting on Ethereum people for DeFi because they say, oh, it's not DeFi because Bitcoin maxi world is true decentralization, right? But what's been happening now, because there are some like base level dog shit DeFi stuff coming to Bitcoin through other layer 2 things, and you have the Bitcoin Treasury bubble, and you have the IPO bubble stuff. Bitcoin maxis on Twitter, okay, they are now like totally oblivious to the irony of this. They're now writing these scenarios of how you can make infinite free returns. And if you go through the strategy, it's literally just Ponzi, DeFi, Ethereum stuff. It's looping around. They go, oh, you take this money, you go borrow off this thing, and then you go use that to go buy more Bitcoin. And then they say when Bitcoin goes up, you'll have more things to go get a loan off here. And then it's not satire. It's real. It's kind of funny. Like I scroll some of these posts, I'll scroll like to comment like 35, and it'll be someone with a .Ethereum name, and they're just write, bro just discovered turbo looping. Which is that's all I'm telling you, friends. This Bitcoin mania is gonna end the same way. Like the Bitcoin maxis just spent all these years shitting on Ethereum, Ponzi, DeFi stuff at here, bro. They're just doing the same thing. It's just because there's a Bitcoin logo attached. They're like, oh, now it's cool. Now this is cool, right? So, oh man, it's crazy. I want to show you this as well, friends. Taking a bit of a turn now. This is Shane Hart. Richard Hart's confirmed brother, okay? He's got a black eye. Did the deep state give Shane Hart a black eye because they wanted him to sell Pulse Chain to them? Makes you think. Also, replay 333 views. Wow, I screenshotted that, by the way. I screenshotted that. I just noticed this now. 333 views. That's an angel number, by the way. Repeating. So where are we going to go from here, friends? I mean, like, pumping on through the weekend, altcoin prices, nothing really to see here, nothing to do here. We got to go through, more of this rinsing of the sentiment. But it's weird because dude, we haven't even had excitement to it. Like, what are we rinsing now? It just feels bad for us. There's nothing to really rinse. This is really what it feels like. Thank you to Mr. Hex Jam Hex. By the way, this is going to make you feel uncomfortable, okay? So, AI, friends, I know we're using it for wonderful purposes, progressing humanity. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels, what it's been feeling like. I've got to remind you as well, tops are marked by crowd euphoria, bottoms are marked by crowd fear. This is OG, your friend Sami. I've been posting this for years, friends. Look, friends, look at this. This is Bitcoin in 2023. Look at Balaji, Bitcoin to 1 million. Do you remember that? Luckily, I marked this stuff down. These are moments in history, very important for us, okay? Also, shout out to Mr. Dick, but I just noticed the post here. It does apply to life. Balaji, Bitcoin to 1 million. Do you remember that? I remember that. And then that was the top. Came back down. Then the corrupt SEC attacked altcoins. Then BlackRock says you need 60% portfolio allocation of Bitcoin. Then it's over. September. Do you remember that? 2023 September. I'll never forget that. That was the biggest scam ever. We literally went below the level. We closed a day below the level, and then we just started going up. Full scam. The game market's rigged, bro. Markets are rigged. They made us close a level before someone tried it. So that's why if you have tight stops, man, you're like a sitting duck, because people out there with money, they're like, okay, they can see the structure and they're like, okay, I wonder what happens if I help the daily candle close below this level, close it. Is there follow through? And what happens is there wasn't follow through. So this guy starts, so the big players, they start covering back, and then the market continues the other way. But you see, it has to push somewhere first and see what's there, right? That's why before we have a bear market, we must get to a euphoria part. Where we're like, okay, before we go down, we got to see what it feels like when the US Fed says we should print money to buy some Bitcoin. That's maybe what ends up happening. Okay, that's what maybe we get to that stage, and that'll maybe mark the top. But until then, hoping and coping. Like, subscribe, belly button, all. Catch you in the next one.